Now, I'm joined by the Shadow Secretary, the Shadow Scotland Secretary, even, Ian Murray, who joins me now. Ian, do you have any sympathy for Liz Truss?
None at all, actually, because we're seeing the fruits of her labours now in terms of people potentially losing their houses, with mortgage rates increasing much higher than they should have been. And that's the premium that she put on everyone's mortgages with her kamikaze budget. So I've got absolutely no sympathy whatsoever.
But I spoke to Keir Starmer yesterday and asked him what help he would give people who are struggling with their mortgages, and essentially there isn't anything that the Labour Party would be doing.
Well, you've got to work with the regulators, the Bank of England, the mortgage providers to try and find some way through this. I've had constituents coming to me in the last few months who are renewing their fixed-term mortgages and are now becoming unaffordable. So because the Conservatives crashed the economy and because we're in the position that we're in with low growth since 2010, we now have a situation where people could be losing their homes on the back of decisions that have been made by this current Prime Minister and the previous one.
But my point is that the Labour Party doesn't appear to be offering any solutions to those people. If Labour were in power right now, they wouldn't be doing anything to intervene, to help people who are struggling with their mortgage payments.
Well, if
We're
Labour
seeing
were...
food inflation just been announced as up at 16.5%. I mean, it's really tough out there for people.
Well, if Labour were in power now, we wouldn't be in this position because we wouldn't have crashed the economy. And Rachel Reeves, as the Chancellor, set out some very strict fiscal rules 2 years ago that we would be sticking to, because you need stability in the economic system. If you don't have that stability in the economic system, you get what you're seeing today in terms of mortgage rates. In fact, there's a report out this morning as well saying that renters are having to pay a larger proportion of their own disposable income for rent, and that's because landlords' mortgage costs are going up, so that's being passed on to renters. This is a tragedy for the country and a tragedy for people who have mortgages and are renting, and something really has to be done about it. But the cause of this is because of decisions made by the government, and Labour wouldn't have made those decisions.
But we are here now, aren't we? This is where we are. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. Why isn't the Labour Party offering more to those who are struggling with the cost of living? Why aren't they saying this is what we would do to help in concrete terms?
Well, what we've said is we would have to get the regulators, the Bank of England and the mortgage providers together to try and find a solution here for people who are ending up on mortgage rates that they are unaffordable, and we have to try and find a way through that. Gilt yields are up to the highest level today than they were potentially when the kamikaze budget came forward last year from Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng. So we're in a position where the economy is in a pretty precarious state because of decisions made by this government. We wouldn't have been here. Now, you're right to say we are here and what we'd be doing about it, and we have to make sure that the Bank of England and the regulators and the mortgage providers are coming together to try and do something about that, and Labour would be leading that charge.
You're the Shadow Secretary of State for Scotland. Keir Starmer's made an announcement about jobs for Scotland, a down payment on a new Scotland, he's called it. What does that mean for the future of Scotland? Some would say, is it an admission that things really need to change there?
Well, this is a hugely exciting policy announced yesterday. I think that's been missing in the narrative around this. This is trying to create a green superpower for the United Kingdom when we're losing that green superpower race to other countries, and to set up a publicly owned Great British Energy company headquartered in Scotland, providing tens of thousands of new highly skilled jobs, providing that energy security, lowering bills, and of course meeting our climate obligations. It's a hugely exciting, ambitious and bold plan, not just for Scotland but for the whole of the United Kingdom. That was what was put to the people yesterday when it was launched in Edinburgh, and I think Scotland being a key part of that shows that it's a key component of the United Kingdom, and a UK Labour government will not only transform Britain but will change Scotland at the same time.
Well, it is a key part of the United Kingdom. It's also really important to Labour because Labour can't win in Westminster unless they win in Scotland. You know, that is really, really important. The polls in Scotland are still showing a roughly 50-50% split, half the population wanting a referendum, wanting independence, the other half not. Will Scottish Labour give half of the population a chance to have their say?
Well, I think it's broadly 50-50 in terms of independence. I think the latest polls show that people don't really want another referendum for all the things that we've already talked about in terms of the cost of living, of mortgages, of looking at public services and some of the big issues in Scotland. So that is not the case that people want them. But no, we won't give another referendum. We want to concentrate on making sure we can turn the UK into a green superpower. We want to make sure that the UK can have the highest sustained growth in the G7. We're setting out those 5 exciting missions for the next UK Labour government, and that will be our focus. And And what we need to demonstrate to the Scottish people now that the polls have closed and we're equal with the SNP in terms of 34% each, we look as if we could win a number of seats in Scotland that could be a route to number 10. We need to prove to Scotland that a UK Labour government can be transformative for Scotland as well as it can be for the whole of the UK, and that's what the launch of the Green Superpower mission yesterday was all about.
But what about the nationalists within the Labour Party in Scotland? Are you not ignoring them?
Well, the First Minister, the new First Minister, Humza Yousaf, himself said on Laura Kuenssberg last Sunday that he didn't think the Scots wanted another referendum or independence at the moment. So he's admitting as well that it's not on the priority list of Scottish voters, and therefore he's offering something that people don't want. What we're offering is something that people do want. They want good jobs, they want cheaper energy, they want a hope for the future, and they want to see a Britain that can be transformed, as Scotland being a key part of it. And that's what Keir Starmer's been laying out on Monday, and also what he's been laying out with the other 5 missions that he's launching.